Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to go over two main things I'm doing in my training right now that are helping me get more out of it. So first things first, this is my squat session for today. I was not very optimistic about how things were going to go today because my legs were really sore. Just skiing, just abnormally sore. I don't know like exactly why, but in this warm up did not move the best. But I was like, I'm going to still try 474 for 4. And honestly, this turned out to be one of the best setups of squats I think I've ever done in my life from like a technical perspective, confidence, how things just overall felt from a power perspective. And one thing that I've really learned about my squat in general is that I can't push it as hard. What I mean by that is that I can't recover from really much above an RPE 8, and my average intensity needs to be lower on squats in order for me to actually progress consistently and actually stay strong. And so I can push deadlift a little bit harder. So that's something that I'm doing going forward is just, not really going above like 8.5s in training. And really just trying to push deadlift a little bit more so I can recover from it a little bit more. You tend to just like choose your spots where you push in training. And I've just kind of learned this about myself. But I was really happy with that set. Felt really good. Then I'll show you the rest of my training on here. But one of the main things that I've been doing in my training, this is something that I always try to do, is try to move with maximal concentric intent. And so this is an important concept because when you are doing a program, most of the time powerlifting is going to be a submaximal training program, which means that you're doing submaximal RPEs, not grinding out RPE 10s very rarely, just because the stimulus to fatigue ratio is just really bad. It's excessively fatiguing relative to the stimulus that you get. And so really, how do we get the same force production, the same strength gains with some maximal weights? And this is really when you have to move with what's called maximal concentric intent. So you're basically moving as fast as possible, regardless of the weight. You're basically producing the same amount of force with 70% of your max as you would with 100% of your max on every single rep, regardless of what it is. And this is going to allow you to really recruit all your motor neurons and get the most strength gains possible. So that's one big thing that I've been doing in my training. I do recommend that you guys do. This is how a single at 7 can get you just as strong as a single at 10. The difference is just one of them you just have to try harder. Now there still is value to heavier intensities, but most of your training should probably be lighter. I generally like having things be below a 7 on squat and deadlift on down sets, and honestly closer to like a 6 for most people. Whereas on bench press, I think you can go closer to like an 8 and actually still get a pretty good stimulus to fatigue ratio. But again, move with maximal concentric intent. Treat every single rep like it's your max, and that's how you're really going to get stronger. And then one other thing that I've started doing is trying to make my accessories harder. And what I mean by this is I'm trying to move in a way that's going to maximize tension on the muscle and minimize loading on the outward portion of the lift, just because on my accessories I am trying to, they're not like really not the strength stimulus, they are part of the strength stimulus, but they're trying to make me grow muscle. They're trying to make me build up work capacity. It's not really primarily to do strength. That's what the barbell lifts are for. And if I want to get the best stimulus to fatigue ratio in my program, I need to ditch my ego with, okay, well, how much weight can I possibly lift on a hack squat, and how much, and basically training with, more of a bodybuilding hypertrophy technique. And really, in general, what that looks like is having a slow, controlled eccentric. It doesn't need to be overly tempo, but it should be controlled. A slight pause at the bottom or at peak contraction of your lifts, and then moving as fast as possible. Again, maximum concentric intent on the concentric part of the lift. This is how you're going to be able to get the most muscle growth with the least amount of fatigue in your program. Because if you're trying to move as much weight as possible on a leg press, for example, you're just probably going to be excessively fatiguing your overall body, as opposed to just putting more tension on the muscles. There is a difference between bodybuilding and hypertrophy technique, or bodybuilding and strength technique, and that's basically bodybuilding. You're trying to maximize internal load on the muscle with how you are moving, whereas with strength training, you're trying to maximize external loads on the bar with how you're moving. But as far as hypertrophy goes, we only really care about that internal load, the actual tension that our muscles feel. That's what matters the most. Then one other thing I'm doing is mile reps. Like these are basically an intensity technique where I'll basically go like an 8 to 9 RPE, and then I'll basically do a couple of cluster sets until I go about RPE 9, 10. This is going to basically allow me to get maximal motor unit recruitment and still take advantage of being a little bit more fatigued to get a little bit more volume from less sets and more effective reps. This is a good example of using some maximal loads to still get you stronger. This is Trevor's secondary day, and you can see here this is like RPE 0, but because he's moving as fast as possible, this is the same force that he's using if he was to squat 600 plus pounds, which is his max. So it's extremely effective. It's something that you should absolutely do. You will very rarely ever see powerlifters really skipping out on or just maxing out in general. Again, this comes back to trying to retain training momentum and chasing the estimated 100 max going up and not your all-out, weights going up. And I think especially like what I said in the beginning with kind of understanding, well, what exercise do I recover easier from? Like, can I push a bench press heavier on intensity throughout my block and recover well? Or can I push my deadlift or my squat better? Which one is more recoverable? Because especially with squat and deadlift, you just can't push them the same and expect the best results. So hopefully you guys found this voiceover helpful. If you guys have any questions, ask down below. I'll be talking about my bulk in the next clip. All right, so you guys just saw my session. Honestly, went pretty well. You guys will hear my thoughts in the voiceover. But I wanted to go over really quickly here, my plan for bulking, since I am currently about 3 months out from my next meet. So I've been weighing in anywhere from 193 to 195 for a decent amount of time, and I've tried to bulk, but because I want to only get half a pound per week, whenever I add in say 250 calories, it never actually works like that. And even though I logically know that that's not how it works, I'm going to gain more weight because of water weight and stuff like that, it kind of gets in my head. So I'm oh no, I'm getting fat or whatever. I know that's not logically the case. So my plan for bulking is to kind of get up to 198 to 220, sorry, not 220, it's a lot, to 200 pounds by the end of February, and kind of just hold there and train there for a while. Because I don't ever gain weight in just half a pound per week. It's 3 to 5 pounds in a short period of time. I hold that there, I recomp, I get stronger, and my training is just excellent. So I'm probably going to gain a little bit of body fat, but the reality is that it's going to be temporary, because recomposition happens as you are training hard, your performance goes higher, and the reality is I want to get bigger. I want to have bigger arms. I want to have more energy in training. I want to not feel so tired all the time, because I've kind of just reached this point where my body's please get bigger. You're getting us all this stimulus for muscle growth, and I'm 5'11 and a half, and being 193, 195 is just nowhere near my long-term need to be, so it doesn't really make sense to shortchange myself. So my plan is around a 200, 300 calorie surplus, just plug that in, trust the thermodynamics, let myself gain weight, and let's see how far that takes me up and not fight it. And so I'm trying to control it as much and be okay, cool, I'm going to gain weight, that's okay, I'm going to feel stronger, I'm going to focus on having good energy, not being tired all the time, eating a little bit more foods that I enjoy, and just really getting strong. So I really think that if I do that, I'm really going to see some massive numbers at this next meet, and that excites me a lot more than staying as lean as possible and whatever. So that's sort of my plan. So I guess a good takeaway from this is you cannot control how fast you gain weight, but you can control, if you know what your maintenance calories are, roughly, they're a range, it's not a fixed value, but roughly what your maintenance calories are, add in, a 200 to 500 calorie surplus on top of that, depending on how much weight you want to gain, how fast. So if you want to gain half a pound per week, roughly 250 calories. If you want to gain a pound of tissue per week, roughly 500 calories. And just stick with that for a while. Don't try to micromanage your rate of gain. Just accept that's going to be whatever it is, and enjoy having good training. And you can always cut too. Cutting is easy, and 200 to 500 calorie surplus is not dirty bulking at all. Train hard and just enjoy feeling strong. That's my biggest recommendation. So hopefully you guys like the video. If you guys are interested in coaching programs, links are down below in the description. I'd love to work with any of you guys. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, just ask down below.